Welcome everyone. This is Danielson. It's St. Patrick's Day. Time for some scary stories, eh? I'd say, lads and lassies. We've got a mixture of true and scary stories for you today. I hope you enjoy them, and that they don't scare you too much. Creep in My Backyard by Brooklyn NN88. It was St. Patrick's Day of 2011, and I'd just gone out for beer and wings at a local pub with some friends. I didn't feel like staying out too late because I had class early in the morning the following day. I had maybe 2 or 3 bottles of beer over the course of the night, and was mildly buzzed, but nowhere near drunk. Because everyone else planned to stay out much later than me, I walked home alone around midnight, which wasn't a huge deal because I only lived about 5 minutes away from the pub. At that time, I was living in a small basement apartment in a quiet, residential neighborhood. I went back into my room, which had a small window near the ceiling that faced the backyard. Outside the window, the ground was dug out, and there were some large items belonging to the backyard pool, which was out of service for the winter understandably, stacked around the brick wall. I turned on the light in my room and started to get changed. I was completely naked and facing towards the window. I glanced up and saw what I thought to be the reflection of my face in the window. I glanced away again, thinking nothing of it at first. But then I felt like something really wasn't right. I looked up again and took a closer look at the face in the window. My eyes widened and I tried to awaken slightly from the alcohol buzz. I looked even closer and realized that the face was moving around in a way that did not mirror my own movements. Also, the face was smiling and speaking. I realized there was a young man who must have literally trespassed into the backyard, maneuvered himself behind all the pool supplies, and crouched down in a dugout area outside of my window. I freaked the heck out and promptly grabbed a blanket to cover myself and then ran into the living room. I was home alone, so I called one of my roommates, who attempted to convince me that I must have been imagining it all because I was drunk. I'm not sure what was worse, seeing what I saw and not being believed about it. The other rotten part of it was that the next day when I told my classmates, they all laughed at me and were high-fiving each other like, "Bro, that's hilarious." Scary and awful. I accidentally picked up a prostitute on St. Patrick's Day once. By my hard-boiled eggs. This happened on St. Paddy's Day 2008, about a month after I got my driver's license. My buddy Eric and I had nothing to do, so we decided to cruise around the Pike, a long stretch of highway surrounded by bars, strip clubs, and general scenery, and enjoy the fact that I could finally drive, especially at night. Prior to driving down the Pike, we stopped at a convenience store to get some grub. As we were about to eat the food in my car, an older, very thin black woman approached my vehicle. Being an anxiety-stricken teenager with not-so-fast reflexes, I did nothing. She tapped on the window, which I rolled down just a crack. I noticed she had a horrible, lazy eye. I've got lazy eye myself, but her eye was just darting off in 100 different directions and was dressed somewhat promiscuously. She was a twig, though, so even her tight fishnet stockings were loose on her bare-bone legs. She looked at me with her one normal eye and asked if I could give her a ride to the liquor store a couple of miles down the Pike. I should make it clear that if this were to happen today, I wouldn't have made the mistake of letting her in my car. But I was a dumb kid, and so that's exactly what I did. Eric got out of the passenger's side and sat behind it instead. He later explained that he did this so that if she tried anything funny, he could attack her from behind. All right. And the woman got inside and sat beside me. She kept thanking me, making an effort to constantly point out how sweet we were for doing this. As we drove down the pike, she started asking us questions. It started off as small talk. Where are you guys from? How old were we? What were we doing driving around on St. Paddy's Day and the like? And eventually she asked if we were looking to party. We assured her that we were not looking to party, and she smiled and said, "Oh, no. 2 good-looking boys like yourselves must be trying to party tonight." Still, I counted telling her that we were just trying to have a calm and normal night. Soon, she mentioned that a friend of hers had just gotten off work and asked if we liked Hispanic women, which was a very what-the-heck out-of-the-blue question. I told her that I didn't mind Hispanic women, I suppose, and she smiled and said, Good. She's looking to party tonight, too." I don't know why it took me that long to figure it out, but it was about that time that the unnerving thought popped into my head. "Dude, I think you just picked up a hooker." If that was true, then I had already broken the law, so a bit of me went into panic mode as she proceeded to ask us more questions. She asked us if we drank, and then immediately reminded me that I was taking her to a liquor store. Not very subtle. Before long, we finally reached the liquor store. Finally. And as I pulled in, I noticed that the parking lot was completely empty, except for one pickup truck. A man was seated in the driver's seat of the truck, and upon seeing us, he turned his car on and drove around me, blocking the exit. My first thought was, oh God, it's an ambush. The man stepped out of the vehicle and began yelling at me. I rolled down my window to hear what he was saying and heard, "She's bad news, man." Without hesitation, I turned the car off, grabbed the keys, and leaped out of the car, not even shutting the door behind me. "What do you mean?" I asked him. "That woman in your car is a prostitute," he told me, confirming my earlier suspicions. "She walks around that Wawa back there and asks men to drive her to buy booze and then to the motel about a mile down the road. She's bad news, man." Relieved that this guy was evidently on my side, I let out a massive sigh of relief and begged him to help me. Again, I was a stupid teenager, and I had absolutely no idea what the heck to do. Back at the car, the lazy-eyed woman of the evening stuck her head out of the open door and asked if anything was wrong. The guy from the pickup truck angrily yelled, "Get out of the car now." She didn't listen. I could hear her muttering, "It's all right. They're cool. It's all cool." My savior in the pickup marched over to the car and swung open her door. He growled for her to get out once more and didn't even wait for a response. He grabbed the chick and pulled her out, shoving her away. The entire time she just kept mumbling, No, everything's all right. They said they were cool with it." As my friend and I stepped out from the back seat and hopped into the front seat again, slamming and locking the door behind us. The guy yelled at her once more, and she vanished behind the liquor store. I thanked him about a dozen times, and he warned me never again to pick up strangers, shortly before driving off. I hopped back into my car and sped away, nerves shot to oblivion. Today, I refuse to go near that Wawa, especially around March. St. Patrick's Day always brings back bad memories. By Clarkinator 69. I'm a couple of days late, but an experience I had a few years ago makes St. Patrick's Day unpleasant for me. The event didn't occur around the holiday, but it inevitably makes me think of the Irish-themed day. I encountered a leprechaun, or a distorted mutant of one. There's rumored to be a large deposit of gold in the woods near my town. I never believed it, and never looked for it. I frequented those woods for peace. It was one such excursion that led me to this. I had never gone further than ever before that day, and was making my way through some especially thick brush when I came upon a sudden clearing. In that clearing was an oddly shaped tree. That wasn't the weirdest part, though. I could hear heavy breathing, and it seemed to be coming from the tree. Additionally, the tree seemed to be moving. This would be fine if it had been windy, but there was absolutely no breeze, not to mention that the movement was in sync with the breathing. I walked up to the tree to examine it and found myself still more shocked. The trunk of the tree was normal and a couple of limbs sprouted up. That was where it stopped resembling a tree. An arm-shaped limb jutted downward, rooted into the ground. Alongside that was a torso-shaped part jutting out at a twisted angle. Worst of all was the humanoid head on the torso. Its eyes watched me intently, and its mouth was clearly the source of the breathing. And then it spoke in a raspy voice. "Kill me," it rasped. I simply stammered, unable to say anything coherent. "Please, I've been rooted here for over 60 years. What are you?" I finally asked. "I'm a guardian of gold. Something you folk call a leprechaun. I'm the last one, though. Haven't seen another in a long time." I was still shocked, too shocked to respond. It continued its story. "We can make gold, and some men brought us here years ago. Many of my kin have since died or vanished. I stayed here to guard the gold, and I grew into the ground." "So, there is gold here?" I mused. "You can have it. I don't care anymore. Just burn me down and take it. The vault is below me." So I did. I got a couple of friends to come back with me a week later. I doused it in gasoline and lit it up. I'll never forget the blood-curdling screams as it burnt. As the burnt crisp of the tree thing collapsed, we noticed a manhole. My friend tried to open it, and was immediately gored through the shoulder with a spike that shot through the hole. So we ran. We ran like mad. To my knowledge, the gold is still there. I don't want to know what is in there. No amount of gold is worth it. I Missed a Day by J. Wolfie 018. Tomorrow is supposed to be St. Patrick's Day, but apparently it was yesterday. I woke up this morning and it was definitely Friday, but I was just scrolling through my social media like I do when I'm bored, and a bunch of my friends have pics up of their St. Paddy's Day parties, green outfits, etc. I was a bit confused, so I checked my phone's calendar, and sure enough, it's Sunday, March 18th, 2018. I have no memory of yesterday. I was planning to meet a few friends at one of the parties, but apparently I didn't make it. I just checked my phone and saw a bunch of missed calls and "Where are you?" texts from my friends, dated Saturday, the 17th. I swear, though, it was just Friday when I last woke up. This morning. So, all I can do is try to retrace my steps. I'm going to list it out there and see if I remember anything that makes all of this a little clearer. Friday, 8 a.m. I woke up to my irritating alarm and then lay there for 15 minutes debating the point in getting up late. 8:15 a.m. Resignation to the fact that I needed some money, so I had better get up. Morning bathroom trip plus shower. Around 9ish, I finished getting ready for work, grabbed a muffin, and headed out the door to go to work. 10 a.m. sharp. Sitting down at my desk, right on time. Mind-numbing work from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. when I took my first break. I usually grabbed a snack from the office vending machine, but today I decided to enjoy the spring-like weather and take a walk outside around the business center. I remember enjoying the much-needed sunshine and getting away from that dim little cubicle. 1:55 p.m. My phone beeped. Break ends in 5 minutes. I headed back inside. 2:00 p.m. Only 4 more hours to go. Work was half over already, and yet it felt like an eternity. I continued my pointless busy work. 4 p.m. Time for my final break, which was also my lunch hour. I decided to have my breaks later so I could feel like I was free sooner. I went to the building's cafe. No, that's not right. First, I had to really go to the restroom, so I went there. I remember there was someone I didn't even recognize from the office, and I knew everyone there. He was cleaning up all the sinks, but something was off. Very off. Can't remember what it was, though. I'll come back to it, if I remember. Anyway, after the restroom break, I went to the pizza place near the business complex. No, wait. I think I couldn't decide where to eat, so I went there first because it was close. I'd been feeling really hungry before, but now my appetite really wasn't there. I went in, but no one really noticed me or gave me the usual greeting. There was a line too, so busy. I decided to try the Popeyes chicken place instead. Maybe that would be good, but shoot, I can't remember for sure where I ended up eating, because I remember now that I went to Popeyes and that it was the same as the pizza place. My hunger was just gone. Nothing seemed appetizing and just... oh... I remember about the guy at the sinks. It was weird because it was at the women's restroom. He just stared at me as he washed off whatever that gunk was all over his face and hands. Maybe an ink cartridge from the copy machine exploded, and he didn't realize what bathroom he ran into to clean up in such a hurry. No, but why was there a puddle of ink all over the floor under one of the stalls? Why did it look like it was still being added to, drip by drip by drip? I walked over to the stall door as the strange man kept washing his hands, staring at me as I went to investigate. I pushed open the steel door, covered in inky fingerprints and splotches and smears, especially on the inside of the door and on the bathroom floor. And, oh God, it was blood, still dripping from Nadine's neck, a metallic cord dug deep into it. She was definitely dead. I must have fainted, passed out from the shock, and now it's all coming back to me. How did I get home then? Oh God, I need to remember. He happened. As I started in horror from my dead former co-worker, I was about to scream when I sensed him behind me, and suddenly before I could make a sound, I was choking too. The next thing I remember after everything went dark was feeling a little off. I only remember that it was my lunch break. I needed to figure out again what I wanted for lunch. I thought about pizza, and I was there, but no one saw me. I considered Popeyes, and I was there, but still nothing sounded good. I thought about skipping lunch and how I just wanted the day to be over and to be back home in my comfy bed. I thought I'd take it easy and just play around on my phone for a while. Looking at it now, though, it's not where I am. I'm not at home, lying in my cozy bed. It's weird. It's like I can see my phone in my mind's eye, and all of it is very real. I'm used to my phone without really touching it, but if I try to think of the actual thing, I can see it, sitting in a plastic bag on the shelf, cracked screen, covered in ink.